right, and we are live. All right, sports update. Adrian Reid was good.
Was good.
Another show. So yeah, I wanted to start off with some college basketball. So we did see Michigan State. They did lose in the Elite Eight. So Adrian, Michigan State didn't make it to the Final Four or the national championship. So all in all, would you call this season a failure?
Yes, I would call it a failure. At this point, it's been 25 years since Izzo's won his last national championship. We've talked about it time and time again. I know he ran on a rant a little bit last week about being worried about his players and how he just can't stand the transfer portal and the ever evolution changing of college basketball. But let's face it, the team they lost to the better team. And by the way, what do we have? I talked to you guys about all season long. The 3-point shooting for Michigan State has been atrocious. It was bottom 10 in college basketball, and it finally caught up to them in their biggest weakness, and they failed. It kind of like Auburn was kind of just BSing around early in that game, and they finally turned it on, and Michigan State could just never get within 8 points. Every time we got to 8, Michigan State could never extend it, especially when John Broome got hurt his elbow. Michigan State couldn't cut into the lead, and I knew it was over. But yeah, all in all, I would definitely call it not an unsuccessful season. The fact is, the problem with Michigan State here is, and this guys, who do you guys think? I'm going to ask you guys, and I can tell you because I know the answer. Who do you think their highest paid player on their roster is in terms of NIL money?
Right now?
Yeah, right now. That currently was on this team's roster.
Either Booker or Carr, I would have to think.
Nope.
Probably Akins?
Nope.
Oh, Spears? Frankie Fiddler?
Frankie Fiddler, and it was less
Fiddler on the roof.
Yeah, less than $500,000. So with the way the portal's going and with the way Tom needs to evolutionize, we already know how he is about recruiting. He likes his guys, but he needs to get guys that are going to make an impact. Look at these teams in the Final Four right now. Duke's pretty much got 4 guys in the top 20 they paid for. Look at Florida transfers: Elijah Martin, FAU guy. Walter Clayton was Iona guy. You look at Houston. Calvin Sampson just continues to recruit elite and gets guys out the portal. So you have to get with the times. You're gonna have to spend some money on these guys and look at the transaction wire. Look, Trey Holloman, the one guy I did not expect Michigan State to enter the transfer portal, and I guarantee you somebody's throwing the bag. I wouldn't. We talked about this earlier, but I wouldn't be surprised if Colin Carr goes into the transfer portal. Somebody's gonna offer him a bag load of money, and Michigan State's not gonna match it because Tom Izzo won't do it. You have to adjust, man. Michigan State has the boosters, as we know. There's a guy that owns the Phoenix Suns. I mean,
he can't get into NIL since he owns a basketball, since he owns the Suns. So that's one thing I was gonna chime in afterwards. But yeah, I think there's a rule with him being an owner that he can't donate money to the school anymore. I believe.
Well, even so, I know they
but there's probably other people out there.
Michigan State has some money that a lot of people don't realize. They have some money in the program that they could loan out or give some money to these guys. But you just got to get with the times and adjust. You got to stop being so stubborn. But if he doesn't adjust, he'll never win again. And I think that is really what hold me back, in my opinion, from him being an elite coach, to get that second national championship. So, but pretty much ran. I'll let Reid go. But yeah, unsuccessful season for me.
Just quickly, I was just going to say, if Holloman leaves, if Carr ends up leaving, and then if Jace goes to the NBA, things could get real interesting next season.
First of all, did you guys know that Exhibit is a Michigan State alumnus?
From Pin My Ride Exhibit?
Yeah, the rapper Exhibit.
What?
That's what it says. It says these Michigan State alumni have a combined net worth. It says combined net worth of $26 billion, but these are other guys. But the people they listed was Exhibit, Kevin Nash, Ray Parker Jr., and some others. I didn't click on the link, but this is another problem that stinks for them. I mean, well, is Magic still with the Lakers? Does he still do ownership? He's not with the Lakers anymore.
With the Commanders and Dodgers.
Oh, yeah. See, that's the thing. Everybody from State owns something. You have Ishbia, you have Gores, you have Gilbert, you have Magic, you have Kirk Gibson, who is not going to probably give any money, and then you have actor James Caan, are like the most notable alumnus. But 2 of those guys, like Kirk Gibson's not going to donate for Michigan State basketball. James Caan definitely doesn't care. And then the top 4 other guys are all owners and teams, so you can't get any donations from those guys. I don't know what the full rule is. I'll have to look that rule up, but I know that there's part ownership. Like if they own a team, they can't donate. So there's got to be someone out there that's willing to spend some money with. I mean, I don't know. Can you like break the rule and like somehow like get like Matt Ishbia to give Mateen Cleaves like a loan to like start to, like put the donation his name? I don't know, but yeah, I mean. That's one thing that hurts them is not spending NIL. I know you said Duke, but I feel like even if Duke had zero NIL money, I still feel like kids are going to go and play there because it's such Michigan State's, a bigger program, but Duke is just a huge program when it comes to basketball because they don't have anything else. But yeah, I mean, if you lose Cohen Carr, I think that's the biggest detriment because I feel like him and Jace probably on this team are the two most realistic to go into the NBA. Jace might go this year. He might want to run it back with Izzo this next year because he'll be a bona fide starter. It's just like Adrian said, you got to figure out something with NIL, and I just don't know where you're going to get the NIL from. And then when it comes to the transfer portal, can you pay? Can you figure out what you can pay these guys that come from the transfer portal? Like, obviously, we all know Michigan. Dusty May he got a lot of guys to come with him that were good, but they also have people who can spend money, as we know with the Bryce Underwood situation. They have billionaires there. It's hard. They got to spend the money, and you just got to figure out where you can get it from. I don't know how you're going to keep guys around other than Izzo just kind of has that pedigree. But if Izzo's not starting guys, like he didn't start Jace this season because Holloman was the starter to begin with, and then they ended up swapping it out, and it worked. It worked out in their favor. You really got to hope that he can recruit on talent, and then those guys you don't even know if they're going to start as freshmen. So, as far as it being a failure, I wouldn't call it a failure. I would say it's a disappointment because I don't think anybody expected them to go as far as they were going to go. I don't think anybody even really expected them to win the Big Ten because this team wasn't expected to be that great of a team. So, when it comes to saying failure, I don't think it's a failure because you still made it to an Elite Eight, right? So it's still an accomplishment to go into an Elite Eight. It's a hard thing to do. Granted, they were a 2 seed. You're not playing the hardest competition in a 2 seed, but it's March. People get upset all the time. It was more of a disappointment than a failure, and I would say in my eyes.
Yeah. Real quick before we move on. Yeah, I agree. I just think at this point, it's 2025. This will be the 25 years since the Big Ten has won a national championship in basketball. And I'm going to keep saying that stat. We talked about the dominance that the SEC in football over the last 25 years. Now it's starting to change. The Big Ten is starting to catch up a little bit, but now it seems like you had first these SEC schools are willing to put the money into basketball. I think Michigan can do it. I think it's just I believe when they gave Dusty that extension, he was promised a certain amount of money to go towards the basketball program. So I think they're going to make more of a conscious effort to invest into the basketball team. Because if you think about it, Michigan's put a lot of guys in the NBA underratedly that a lot of people don't know about. But like I said, it just comes down to these schools really caring about it and really going for it. And then two more points before we move on. One, Louisville is expected to spend $8 to $10 million on their roster for this upcoming season. That is a crazy number. And then here's a tweet from Jeff Goodman. This was yesterday, guys. Right now, numbers being tossed around by agents for most of the top transfers is in the $2.5 to $3 million range, according to multiple sources. Timing is everything, and right now, players trying to get paid prior to the House settlement and revenue sharing going into place. And that is the revenue sharing pretty much is the settlement that's supposed to go into effect once the judge is supposed to vote on it. So each school will get a certain amount of number donated to their athletic program. So I think it's like somewhere between $20 and $22 million, but supposed to decide on that this month. So we'll see what happens with that. But like you said, people are trying to take advantage of it now.
Yeah. So Adrian, Michigan did make some moves. Trey Donaldson, their starting point guard, he entered the portal. They did get UNC guard Elliot Cadeau from your Tar Heels, and they also had the wing from Illinois transfer in. So how'd you like these moves?
So far, I've talked about putting their money where their mouth is, and I believe they're doing it. The Elliot Cadeau move was a brilliant move by them. I think he was undervalued. A lot of people, you guys know I'm a Carolina fan. People who are watching don't know I am. They kind of ran him out of town. Former 5-star guy. was an elite high school prospect. He is the point guard that Michigan needs. He doesn't turn the ball over Trey Donaldson. He runs it like a floor general. And whatever big man they get, Guy Johnson from Illinois, and I'm sure they'll go after some more guys. He's going to be an excellent passer, throwing a lot of lobs, keeping the turnover down, and can run the basketball team. I think great pickups so far. Great job by Dusty May and what he's been able to do. And mind you guys, the portal is only open to April 24th. So they cut the days down. Last season was 45 days. This year it is 30 days. So there's still 3 weeks and some change left for these teams to make some roster moves and some changes.
Do you guys? I got a quick question. Do you think they should extend the or push back? I could say the time that it starts, because I don't know how it works with like Duke, Arizona, or not Arizona. I'm sorry, Auburn, Houston, and Florida contacting these kids in the transfer portal. I'm sure they have teams that can reach out to the kids, but how like they can't meet with the coaches. They can't go and do any of that stuff, I would assume, during this March Madness Final Four. Do you think they should push it until after the national championship before kids can hit the transfer portal?
It's the same thing in football, I believe. I think you should just wait until the regular season is over to give everybody the same common ground to be able to make these roster moves. Like Justin Pippen entered the portal in the middle of Michigan's before they got to the Sweet 16. I believe I like that they do in football. I know they get 5 days after their bowl games or their games. I believe they'll probably get maybe 5 or 6 days after the season's over to decide if they're going to enter the portal or not. Because once you're in the portal, you can stay in the portal. You just have to have your name in if you want to get in there. But like you said, it makes it very complicated. There's kind of needs to be a little guardrails with this thing, and I get it, kids getting paid and all that stuff. But come on now, this is just ridiculous. Making the roster moves when the season is still ongoing. That's like the NFL deciding free agency during Super Bowl weekend. It's a little ridiculous.
Okay, so I have a little bit more information. My computer is just so bad. So it was said that once Ishbia purchased the controlling rights to the Phoenix Suns, he was asked by someone in the NCAA, it didn't give the source of who asked him, to discontinue his NIL program for Michigan State due to conflict of interest with his professional sports team. So it is weird that it's basketball. Like, can Magic Johnson still do it for basketball if he's part of the command? Like, if you're an NFL part owner, can you still do it for basketball? I don't know if that's still a conflict of interest. But yeah, they said that it's conflict of interest, so they asked him to discontinue his NIL program.
If Tom doesn't be careful, he'll turn into Dabo Swinney. You see what happened to Dabo Swinney these couple of years, where he was down a little bit and he realized, like, okay, I gotta kind of put my foot on the gas, and I may not like it, but I gotta adapt a little bit, and that's what it is. And I have to do it. He's 70s. It's a young man's game. You'll get left real quick.
Yeah, if he wants that second national championship, he got to get with the times for sure. All right, so Reid, Final Four teams left: Florida, Auburn, Houston, and Duke. Who do you got winning it all?
Who does my brain or who does my bracket?
Let's hear both.
Yeah, my bracket, I have Houston. I think Houston is a solid defensive team. I will say that Tennessee game, I mean, they dog walked Tennessee, but their offense didn't look great. But they held Tennessee was at one point in that first half was just jacking them threes. I don't think they scored in like 6 minutes, the final 6 minutes of that first half. So it was pretty tough. So in my bracket, I have Houston just because I think they're a strong defensive team. That being said, you're going up against an offensive juggernaut that is Duke. I think Duke is really destined to win it all. So Adrian, plug your ears. I think they're destined to win the whole thing because, I mean, they have size, they have the athleticism, they have the talent with Flag. I think Knippel's a great player as well. He's got like 4 other brothers that are already committed to Duke. So there's going to be just like a brother dynasty there. That they have like is that center, that big center they got?
Maluach.
Yeah, that dude is
like Luol Deng.
Yeah, exactly. He's like unstoppable. So I just think Duke is far too talented. Auburn, I mean, Michigan State didn't play great against them because they didn't make threes, but they kind of started coming back in the end. I think that game could have gone a little bit differently if State was hitting more threes. I just don't really believe in Auburn, and I don't really believe in Florida. I mean, they had a close game against UConn. They had the close game after that. It just, those two teams are really up in the air to me. So I think if Duke takes care of Houston or Houston takes care of Duke, I don't think either of those other teams are good enough to beat the two that they have to face. So I think Auburn or Florida are definitely out of it. So I think it's going to come down to Duke or Houston. And I think it's Duke just because they have the firepower.
Yeah, and, I mean, fortunately, obviously, you guys know I'm a Tar Heels fan, so it breaks my heart to have to see Duke continue to win. But I mean, I'm gonna give them credit where they do. They've been completely dominant in these 4 wins that they've had thus far. They are the favorite. They should be the favorite. I believe they're. I just checked. I think it went up when I checked yesterday. It was 4.5. I believe it's 5.5 over Houston. But I'm gonna pick Houston because that was my pick going into the tournament. I've been actually before the season started, I had Houston winning it all, and I'm gonna stick with that pick. Calvin Sampson's man, a great coach, very underrated, doesn't get the credit he deserves.
Unreal.
Houston I know they only scored 60 plus points in that game, but they were up at 1.34-15 on Tennessee, and they completely just suffocated Tennessee and they did not let them get into the paint, made them shoot tough shots. I believe if any team can match Duke's physicality, it can definitely be this Houston team, the way they play. They just got to get enough offense. That's the only thing I worry about. But if they can muddy this game up and the refs let them play a little bit, I believe they can win this game. I do believe Florida is going to beat Duke, and it's going to be Houston versus Florida, and Houston will beat Florida. But if Duke wins, I won't be surprised. So I have to take the bias out a little bit, but I do believe they should be the favorite. But I'm only picking Houston because that was in my bracket and in my picking before the season started. I'm gonna roll with it, but it's gonna be very painful if I see Duke cutting the nets down next Monday night because I already had to see Ohio State win a national championship, even though Michigan beat them. But hey, it's okay. But just can never root for Duke. But I'll give him credit where it's due. Cooper Flagg is. All right, what more can I say? He's an amazing guy, amazing player. He's gonna be the number 1 overall pick. I think Con Knuckle kind of reminds me of a Luke Kennard. I know most people don't want to hear that, but he's great in college. But so a lot of these Duke guys get to the league and don't do a lot of stuff. And there's very rare exceptions, but Cooper Flagg is going to be elite. So hate to give Duke the props, but I'm going to do it. But Florida is a sleeper in this tournament, and if they can get hot on offense, I just think their problem is they're playing down to the competition, and they have these lows where they just kind of fall asleep. And I just don't believe in Auburn because I just don't think they have the discipline enough to win a championship.
Yeah. I think it's Duke's national championship to lose. They're the best team remaining, in my opinion. They got the best player. They're the favorite for a reason. I expect Duke to win it all, honestly.
Hey, fun fact too, guys. Master P, everybody knows Master P. His son Mercy Miller is on Houston's team. He's a freshman.
Okay. Does he get any playing time?
Yeah, he's a little bit. He's got a little bit playing time sporadically there. But Calvin Sampson is he makes his freshman earn the time a little bit. But he's gonna be a good player for them, I believe.
You better be careful with him. Somebody's gonna offer some money. He's gonna hit that portal.
Yeah.
There was I think there was a stat about Houston. I think they were 0 for 4 in tournament games before the head coach took over, and now they're like 16 and like 8 in tournament games now since then. So he's really turned it around. Isn't Master P's other kid? Isn't it Lil Romeo? Isn't that his other kid? Didn't they have a TV show on like Nickelodeon back in the day?
Sure did. I think it was the Romeo Miller show.
Whatever happened to him?
He's just like doing regular stuff now. I guess nothing.
Romeo, I think he's acting now. I think he's acting.
He wasn't a Tubi movie actually.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, all right. Well, yeah. Let's switch it over to the MLB. I'm gonna get some Tigers in here. So, Tigers currently 1-4. They got swept by the Dodgers in the season opener. They did beat the Mariners last night. A lot of pop in the bats. They finally seen some offense. We see Jackson Jobe for the first time. So, Reid, where you at with this Tigers team? Still early in the season, but what's been your analysis of the team so far?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's good to. I mean, they had to fight the Avengers the first 3 games of the year, so that's always tough to beat that team. I mean, they still looked good against them. I mean, they were in a few of those games. They were fighting. Torque had really solid at bats. Even in that, he's batting like 429, I think, still this year. I mean, it's early. It's 5 games in the season, but I mean, he's still hitting the ball well. He was 2 for 5 yesterday, I think, like that. He probably had. Yeah, he probably had another one that probably should have snuck through yesterday. But I mean, still, his batting stance changed. He's looking a lot better. Colt Keith and Riley Green are getting off to slow starts. I don't like the way they look so far. Kerry Carpenter's looked good. I don't know why Zach McKinstry is in this lineup. I know I talked to you guys about that last night during the game. It's just he was like, I think he was 0 for 5 or 0 for 4 last night, and it's just, and then he was just getting absolutely shelled in right field, and I don't know why he's in right field because that's like one of the hardest positions to play, especially in the outfield. You really need to have a cannon of an arm, and I mean he made some decent distance on his throws, but he's just not accurate with it. So there's some question marks in this lineup. Justin Henry Malloy, I think, should be in this lineup, but you got to figure out what's going to happen when Gleyber Torres comes back because obviously he's in here. He's only called up from the lineup because Gleyber Torres is out. Margot is looking like a good guy that they picked up. I think he came from Milwaukee. Javi looked okay yesterday, but then he also had some bad hits. Dylan Dingler's looking like he could be the catcher of the future. He was batting.
Came out of like nowhere.
Yeah, so I mean, he played a little bit last season when they needed him. You got to see what happens when Parker Meadows come back. If he comes back, hopefully he can stay healthy because he's a really good outfielder. He's a really good base runner. His batting is okay, but if he gets, if he hits a double, it could potentially be a triple with how fast he is. So the bats just need to stay hot. You need Torkelson. Hopefully Torkelson will stay batting anywhere from 289 to 315. You would hope something like that, and maybe 30 bombs. That would be a great comeback for him. I think. I really need to see a lot from Riley Green this year. My friend talked about it yesterday, and he made a pretty good comparison. I think he's like the Dylan Larkin of this team, where he's not anything that's like amazing, but he's definitely like the glue captain of this team. So I need to see a little bit more from him. Colt Keith really needs to show what he's doing. And Torque looked good at first base for the most part. He caught that one, and then he had a really errant throw after he caught that line drive to first. But I mean, the team looks solid. I mean, they look like they could definitely be good. Another shining light is Minnesota is horrible right now. I mean, I think they're 0-5. I don't think they've won one yet. Chicago will be Chicago, and then you just got to worry about Cleveland and Kansas City, who are playing fine. But this division's wide open. I mean, this division is so bad. Teams are up and down all the time. So the bats look good. I'm really interested to see what Mize is going to do tonight. That's your guy that I think you're the most, want to see the most progression from him this year. So I was encouraged about Joe, but I mean, I think when you have your first major league start, he had a few, he let 2 home runs up, but I mean, he had 3 strikeouts. I think a 60% strike rate, which is good, but it could be a little bit higher. So there's promise there. I mean, he was painting the corners with 90 mile an hour fastballs and curves. So it's promising. I like the top of I like Flaherty needs to stay healthy, and Skubal is obviously Skubal. So I think this team has the most talent in the division. And the next closest is probably Kansas City in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, like Reid said, I'm not going to count the Dodgers. They're on a completely different tier of MLB right now, spending all that money on that roster. Like you said, they do have the Avengers. They play hard in that series. They gave that game up. They blew that game. That second game in that series, catcher, the center fielder threw a bomb to the catcher and got him on the foot. Was kind of disappointing. I thought he wasn't out at first, but like you said, I can't really judge this team right now until we kind of get some of the established guys back. Like you said, Gleyber Torres, was off to a really good start. Former Yankee, got hurt. Now he's on a 10-day IL. So get this pitching staff healthy, get Cobb back. I think it will show a lot. With Joe, you got to think, like Reid said, it's his first start. Mind you, he's warming up for the game. Doesn't think he's going to be walking back and forth from the dugout that long, waiting to actually hit the field. The Tigers scored 6 runs in that first inning.
6 runs, yeah.
So now I'm sure his nerves are going. He's done warmed up. So it's a little bit. So give him some time. I think he did okay. He had his 4 innings. Give him time. Like you said, he gave up 2 home runs, almost gave up a third. But I think he'll be fine. You can get 5 innings a start from him. I think it'll be a good season for him. So get Cobb back. Got to see. McKinstry's got to get out of there. I'm tired. I don't want to see him. It's not even really. I know he's only batting 211. But it's not even that. It's his defense. It's been atrocious. I think Torque getting off to this great start is going to build his confidence, and maybe he will develop and blossom into the player that the Tigers drafted him with the number overall pick. So I still have some optimism for you, Raaj. I'm not as high on Mize as you are. I'm hoping he can have a good year, but I'm still not sold on him. That's the one guy I can't really put my faith into. But like you said, Riley Green, Tiger fans, boy, like you said, they treat him like Dylan Larkin. Like everybody thinks he's going to be Cade Cunningham. I I don't see it. But I'm hopeful, like you said, optimistic. But like you said, the division's terrible, man. It's terrible. So they're gonna be in it the whole entire season. I think they should absolutely not win this division, but run away with it, even with the problems and the issues that they have.
Yeah, I think when Torres comes back, McKinstry needs to be sent down. You keep Henry Malloy up.
DFA him, please.
Yeah,
you have to like for that, and the only problem with Malloy is he doesn't have a sole position defensively on this team. Now the problem is you could put him in left field, but I think Riley Green wants to play left field. You have Parker Meadows will be at center. Carey could potentially be at right. I just don't know what Malloy's arm would look like if you put him at right. I don't know how good of a fielder he'd be at right. Left field is obviously would be nice because you don't see as much traction in the left field. A lot more of the ball goes to the right side of the field. So that's the only problem with him. If that's the case, then you just DH him. You would just put obviously Glaber's going to be at second. Colts at first, and then you'd have to see, maybe Torque could be an outfielder at that point. Maybe Torque could be a center fielder, but he needs to be in his lineup. His batting looked too good yesterday. Torque's batting looks too good. And then a thing that I also really liked was Javi at third. Javi looked great at third yesterday. I'll be honest with you. He made some really good plays at third. Had two really good grabs for outs that were line drives. So I think he could probably stay at third if you want to keep him there. I just don't want to see McKinstry or Vierling in this lineup anymore. Although I think Vierling, when he gets healthy, they'll want him back in. They like Vierling as a bat for some reason.
Yeah. So yeah, we got to see how Casey Mize looks tonight. I've been saying this is a make or break year for Casey Mize. So he needs to go out there and have a strong performance today against a mediocre Mariners team. If Job had a strong performance, Mize should follow up with one as well. So, yeah, we got to see how those Tigers look tonight. All right, so let's switch it over to the NBA, man. The Pistons. So the suspensions were handed down for the brawl this past Sunday in Minnesota. So Beef Stew got 2 games. Marcus Sasser and Ron Holland both got 1 game. DiVincenzo and Naz Reid got 1 game as well. So Cade's already been out. They got a primetime game tomorrow at OKC on ESPN. So Adrian, what's the state of the Pistons right now? Where are you at with this team?
I'm loving where this team's at. I talked to you guys about this yesterday. I'm a little mildly concerned about this Cade injury because I don't really remember him even getting hurt in that Dallas game. I think maybe this was a ploy kind of to maybe get him some rest. I've talked to you guys about this the last couple of weeks. He's been getting beat up a little bit. You can see it. It's been a little drained, so I think it's to get him some rest. Also that, but I also think with this whole brawl thing, the way I'm looking at it is I like the toughness, I like the physicality that we bring, but at a certain point, you got to kind of draw the line a little bit. You know what I mean? As far as like the Isaiah Stewart thing, the toughness thing, I get it, love it. But guess what? What's going to happen in a playoff game? Let's say we know we don't want to play the Indiana Pacers because there's going to be a lot of fights. There's going to be a lot of physicality because we know those teams don't like each other. But you have to be smart because now teams realize that Isaiah Stewart, Beef Stew, that they can kind of toe the line with him and he's gonna snap. And the refs aren't giving him the benefit of the doubt anymore. He is ultimately wants to be the new Draymond Green. So anything that happens, they're gonna go overboard with it. And I love the energy from Ron Holland, but Ron, we need you on the court right now, man. We need you on the court. Let's chill out a little bit. But mind you, DiVincenzo should have got, if not the same amount of games as Beef Stew, more. He's the one who initiated the whole thing by grabbing Ron Holland and kind of throwing him down a little bit and doing that extra stuff. But I love the toughness. I love the energy. I love the fight. I love JB standing up for the guys. I'm loving it. Like triple the win total already from last season. JB should be unanimous coach of the year. And they better not give it to Kenny Atkinson, but it's neither here nor there. But just let's get K healthy. Don't need to play tomorrow. I heard maybe he could play this weekend. But try to rest him as long as you can and get him back a couple games before the regular season ends. Because they have the home and home, I believe, with the Bucks to end the season. So let's get him back, ready to go for the playoffs. And it's looking like they could get that 4 seed or that 5 seed. So between that 5 and 6 seed. So we'll see. So it's either a matchup against the Knicks or a matchup against the Pacers. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, the Knicks are kind of doing a similar thing with Brunson. They're saying Brunson's got this injury. He's been out for a little bit, and I think it's like Adrian said. I think it's almost kind of a don't look at us. We're not going to, we're not trying to cause any trouble. We just want to rest our guy because we want to make some noise in the playoffs. So I think that's what they're kind of doing with Cade.
Yeah, remember they're finding teams now for intentionally resting guys. So
no, I understand that, but I just think at this point it's too because Cade hasn't been out for 15 games. He's only been out for a handful. Yeah, so it's only been a handful of games. I think now after this whole fight happened, I know I agree with Adrian. I think DiVincenzo probably should have gotten a longer suspension. If they released the audio, the on-court audio of it, and he was just chirping the whole time. Beef Stew missed that shot it short. He was chirping him. Beef Stew, came back. That's the kind of guy he is. I like everybody's saying the bad boys are back. I like the style of play. It's just unfortunate because you can't really do that style of play in this era in the NBA. There's too many fouls called. So if you're brawling like that or you're shoving guys, you're definitely going to get called. It's just not going to happen like the way it used to. So yeah, I think unfortunately it stinks that the two nationally televised games they had, one was against the Heat, which was really good, and now the other one is going to be against OKC when you're down, four potential. Well, I mean they're not starters, but you're down multiple solid key players, and you're down Cade. You're not going to have Beef Stew for that game. You're not going to have Sasser, who's been really good filling in for Cade coming off the bench the last couple of games. Ron looked good. He's not going to be there, so you're really hoping that Asar and Malik, Duran, Tobias, all these guys are really going to pick it up. But OKC ultimately, I think, is just the better team at this point. Especially with the guys coming off the bench, you're not going to be able to reach into the bag as much. Good thing about this, we might be able to see my guy Bobby Klipman might get some more playing time. The other guy, Danis, is that his name from the G League? He played last week when everybody got suspended. So you'll probably see some of those younger G League guys that have been playing really well come up and play. So that'll be interesting to see. Maybe you could. Some of those guys, that's obviously not Klintman because he came in the draft, but some of those guys maybe you could use as like a trade card for the draft if you want to move up, into the first round from the second. It's possible. But yeah, I think this team's great. Like Adrian said, I think JB should be the unanimous, but I don't think he's going to get it just because the Cavs are a much bigger market team in the sense of this point right now. They're the number one seed. It's just hard to give it away to them. It seems like every Detroit coach is cursed at winning a coach of the year because obviously we know Dan Campbell probably could have won it 2 years in a row. He didn't win it. So awards are awards. As long as his team goes and plays and potentially can win a playoff series, I'd be happy about that. Like Adrian said, I don't really want to see the Pacers because they can get chippy and I don't want guys getting suspended in the playoffs. I think the Knicks probably would be a little bit, better of a matchup just because you've already beat them twice this year with full strength. So the team I have hope in the team. It's just everybody needs to be healthy, everybody needs to be playing right, and let's see if we can get our guy Jaden Ivey back by the time the playoffs roll around.
For sure, that'll help for sure. All right, let's see. Bashir in the building says, I don't care who we play, we coming out the first round, we got our swagger and toughness back.
I like it.
I do like it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so yeah, let's switch over to the NFL. Let's get some NFL up in here. So the NFL owners meetings wrapped up today. So 16 teams are in favor of banning the tush push. So Reid, should the tush push be banned?
I mean, part of me wants to say yes, just because I can't, or my team can't do it because I have a geriatric at quarterback. I mean, I say geriatric. He just isn't Jalen Hurts. He's not squatting 600 pounds. But I mean, if you're figure out how to do it with Josh Allen, figure out how to all these teams can figure out how to do it. They just don't. So do I want it banned? Yeah, just because it's unfair that my team can't do it. But I mean, it's something that teams can do. Why would you ban it if it's just something that it's a play that people figure out? It's a flaw in the system. I mean, they could do it to make it an even playing field for everybody who plays Philly, but ultimately Philly figured out, the loophole in the play. So I want it to be banned. I don't think it's going to be banned, at least not this year. You might wait until next year and see what happens. If more teams implement it and more teams lose to it, maybe the owners will be like, okay, this is enough. But yeah, I don't think it's going to get banned at all.
No, I'm right there with Reid. I never wanted to get banned. Hey, all these teams are just mad because they can't stop it. If that's the case, every teams have tried it besides the Eagles and can't do it. The Eagles just have the personnel to run it. It's always one of those things where the Eagles have found a way to get a one-up advantage. Hey, figure it out. I don't think it's anything illegal or anything that's going on. I just think teams are just pissed because they can't stop it pretty much. I mean,
That's it.
it's just fair and simple. The Eagles have arguably the best offensive line in football and a quarterback who Jalen Hurts is squatting like 500-600 pounds, and they have a freakazoid running back in Saquon Barkley. So, what are you gonna do? So hey, don't cry about it. But teams are just trying to find a way to cry about it because Eagles have found a way to take advantage of it. So hey, kudos to them.
The more teams, Raj, but the Ravens have Derrick Henry. Line him up, and Jalen Hurts is going to do it by the way they line up. Line Derrick Henry up if you're the Ravens and do it. Line, who's another big bet? Like if you draft Ollie Gordon, he's 6'2", like 240. Like he could do it too if you draft Ollie Gordon. Like maybe draft a bigger running back and start implementing them like a fullback. And have them do the tush push or tight ends. I mean, tight end, like you don't think George Kittle could probably line up under center and get a tush push going? It's just, more teams just need to figure out how they're going to do it. I think people are just kind of too scared that they're going to have like they'll run out the play and then people know that they're doing it. But that's the glory of the tush push. People know that the Eagles are going to do it. They're just successful every time because you can't stop it. And even if you try and stack the box, it's still not going to work because you just can't get enough. There's not enough time to get to stop, the center diving down and then, Jalen Hurts going right behind him. So, more teams just need to figure out how to do it and it won't be as big of a deal or it will get banned because more teams are doing it.
Yeah. I've seen like teams like the Ravens do it. They'll send the tight end in motion like he's coming in motion. He'll hurry get under the center, hike the ball, and teams do it like that. But I don't think it should be banned, me personally, because I mean, it's not. I don't feel as though it's an illegal play. Teams are just mad that they can't stop it. Yeah, teams are just mad that they can't stop it. Now it does inflate Jalen Hurts' numbers because we talking about his rushing touchdowns for the season. How many of those rushing touchdowns came from the tush push? Probably at least half of them, right? I would assume. So it does kind of inflate the numbers a little bit, but all in all, I don't think it should be banned though. Let me see. It says, why are y'all crying over illegal running play? Get stronger and tougher.
Hey,
we're right there with you, Bashir. I mean, we're not the ones crying. It's, other people that don't like it. Again, I don't like it because it's the fact that my team doesn't do it. That was my only gripe with it. Is my team can't do it. But like, if they could do it, I would be all for it. But the Eagles seem to be the only team that have it perfected. I don't know how teams can't. That's like people being like, you can't, like the Lions couldn't run trick plays last season because they were too unfair because they were like 85% successful on trick plays. So let's ban trick plays. No, you just can't do it just because teams found a loophole on how to get first downs or how to score touchdowns. It's just the way of the world.
Absolutely. All right, so Adrian, we've seen Aaron Rodgers worked out with DK Metcalf this week, and they had a workout session. So do you think it's a foregone conclusion that your Steelers are signing Aaron Rodgers? And if they do, what would the Steelers ceiling be?
I mean, it's gonna happen. I've told you guys. Aaron Rodgers is kind of running out of options. You see the Giants sign Jameis, sign Russell Wilson. The Vikings don't really want him. He's not gonna go to Cleveland. I know Art when he said something at the owners meeting today, something along the lines of it's trending or going in the right direction for Aaron Rodgers to eventually sign with us. I mean, the writing's on the wall. Gonna ultimately have to accept it. But I mean, if he does end up coming here, I think their ceiling is 10 games, maybe 11, depending on what they do with the roster surrounding him. He still has some talent. He can throw the football, but they just have to get better around him. I believe they can make the playoffs, but I don't see them making any noise in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to happen because the Steelers need to figure out something. You can't trot Mason Rudolph out there and expect to, win a bunch of games. Although I think with DK and George Pickens, he can win a little bit more games. I don't know. I mean, Aaron Rodgers' O-line wasn't great last season with the Jets, and he still threw for 4,000 yards and 28 touchdowns with Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson. So, I mean, I think the Steelers' offensive line, when it's fully healthy, is better than the Jets' offensive line was, at least. That's my takeaway. And if they draft more offensive line to help, or maybe go for a running back later on, because I don't think you're going to get it done with just Jalen Warren, even though I do like Jalen Warren as a running back. But yeah, I think at this point, you really have to look at what your talent is in your quarterback room since you don't have Fields. I think you need to have somebody there that's at least more serviceable than Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, I'm right there. I'm right there with you. I'm not like I said. They're gonna have to go all in at quarterback next year. I think they're just kind of just taking the approach of trying to build the roster. So I think they're taking Aaron Rodgers for a year, but he can't be the long term answer. Because I'm just like I said, I'm telling you guys, I'm just getting real tired of just going into the season. I get, hey, a lot of teams would love to, a lot of franchises would love to win 10, 11 games, but hey, it's not getting us anywhere, especially with the franchise I root for. Just not even winning a playoff game since 2016. I mean, it's literally just making me want to put my head to the wall because it's just too good, too historic. It's been too consistent at building roster just for you to just bomb the quarterback position like this and not really have a plan. They haven't had a plan since the year or two before Big died, and they're just kind of just running along trying to figure it out, and it's not good enough.
Yeah, if Aaron Rodgers does end up signing with the Steelers, which we all expect him to do, I think he needs to just announce his farewell tour. He needs to announce that this is the last season. Like, the writing's on the wall at this point. He shouldn't at this stage in his career just – Aaron Rodgers is an all-time great. Like, at this – just bouncing around team to team like this, I don't feel like it's a good way to finish his career. He needs to just announce this is the farewell tour and hang it up. The Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, that era is officially over with. Aaron Rodgers needs to just hang it up and just move on. You're an all-time great. You're a Hall of Famer. Just announce the farewell tour and put the icing on the cake. It should be over with. All right, so yeah, let me see updates before we get up out of here. So the Wings are
tied.
Yeah, 0-0 after the first intermission there. So not a whole lot going on there. So where you at with the Wings? You sticking the fork in them? No playoffs. It's over with.
I mean, if I had to say, I'm saying 70-30, they're not going to make it, but there still is a chance because they beat Boston and Boston's ahead of them. I mean, I think they were 3 points out with 10 games left, and now I think it's 8 games left. So they can definitely do it, but you really need to win out and hope everybody you need to beat Columbus today because they're in front of you. It's just you need the teams in front of you to lose, and that's what they were hoping for last season with the Flyers, the Caps, a few of the other teams. But it's just at this point I'm over it, man. Stevie Y did nothing during this trade deadline to help him out and took on a lot of money for worse players. I just think that even if you do make the playoffs, cool. Everybody wants them to make the playoffs so badly, but it's if you get in there, what are you going to do? You're not making any noise against whoever you're playing. So it's just, you're going to go in there and they're going to have to play Toronto or I don't even know who they would play at this point if they go in, but just, it's hopeless at this point. But again, I think 30% chance it can happen because, crazy things happen, for teams to make the playoffs. But once they get in there, I don't think they're going to make any noise if they did anyway.
I got a question for Reid, Raaj, to see what he has to say about this. As the resident Wings fan on the show, do you think that Stevie Y is on the hottest seat as far as the GMs in this city?
I think he is just because he's the longest tenured GM for the teams as of right now. Obviously, Brad Holmes is after that. But I think as long as Chris Ilitch is the owner of the Red Wings, I don't think Stevie Y is going to go anywhere anytime soon. I think you could still see another 3 years of Steve Yzerman, being the GM just because Chris Ilitch, is familiar with him because his dad owned the team when they won all the Stanley Cups. He's probably friendly with Steve Yzerman. He basically just gives Steve Yzerman anything he wants, and he'll let him be the GM. So, but if Steve Yzerman goes 3 more years and doesn't make the playoffs, I could see it happening, or I could see that's the hot seat started, and then he goes year 4 and gets fired if they don't make the playoffs again. But I think as of right now, it's Stevie Y's team, and Chris Ilitch is just this is my toy that's still making me money, and this guy enjoys doing what he's doing. So I don't think he's in the hottest. He's in the hottest seat out of Detroit GMs, like I said, because he's the longest tenured. But I don't think his seat's as hot as everybody thinks it is.
Okay, cool. All right, yeah, there it is.
Rod, you ain't got no trivia for us tonight, man. No trivia.
I dropped the ball, man.
Man.
We spooked him too much last time. We were too good last time we did it. He's like, I need more time to figure out a harder question.
No, I forgot my phone before we started the stream. I put an April Fool's prank out, and everybody was calling me. So. I had time to. Yeah, I was thrown off a little bit. I had to water some of the fires I had started. But yeah, Tigers, man. Tigers first pitch at 9:40. We got Casey Myers on the mound tonight, and Logan Gilbert. So yeah, check that out.
All right, guys. Before we leave. The Pistons have 4 games in between for next time we stream. So at the Thunder, at the Raptors, versus Memphis on Saturday night, and then versus the Kings on Monday night. So hopefully at least they go 2-2 in those games.
So they'll get beef stew back at the Grizzlies game, and then after that, you said then the Kings is the 4th game. I think they go 2-2 in that. I think they lose to OKC, they lose to the Grizzlies, they beat the Raptors, and they beat the Kings.
Yeah.
Even with no Cade, I think that would still happen because I think that the Raptors are kind of, they're done on their season. And then I think the Kings are just like a gag of misfit like veterans that are on the team that just aren't playing that well.
They're still fighting for that the play-in season, so they're going to be playing. They're going to be playing all their guys.
Yeah, they got Cade and Tobias listed as game time decisions for the game tomorrow, so we'll see.
Yes, that's a better sign for him. Probably tracking towards playing. I think they wait till Saturday to play him.
I think they wait until the last second possible. I think they play him the Knicks and the 2 Bucks games. That's when I'm calling him back the Knicks game. The games that matter, they're going to have Cade back.
Guys, maybe we should have a conversation. Maybe we should let the audience know. Maybe we should try to go to that Knicks Pistons game next Thursday. Let's put it in the air. Maybe we can make that happen.
I'll put out some lines and see if I can get.
Put out some feelers. Make them calls, Reid. You know, the big bosses.
For sure, I'm down. I'm with that for sure. All right, cool. All right, well, yeah, there it is. Sports update. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Make sure y'all like the video, and yeah, we'll see y'all next week. Peace.